Hello again and welcome. Last episode, I spoke with COO and Chief Learning Strategist Susan Minaya on the necessary skills a learning strategist should have. Moving on, this episode I will be continuing my conversation with Susan on learning strategy, discussing different tools learning strategists can use to help their process. Stay tuned to learn more. Now, are there any learning strategy tools that learning strategists can use to help their process? Is there anything like that for learning strategy, or is there something more of a self-developed process and system?
Well, I know for me, it's a self-developed process that I created for myself. But okay. I would say, because I've sort of bootstrapped myself over my experiences in my career, right, as a learning leader and also as a consultant for other organizations in learning strategy. So through that, I have created my own tools and resources that I use to be able to do it. And some of that is around templating. And I think, one of the things is really creating that learning strategy document that you hand off or that you can showcase to the organization or you can use as a communication tool for other people and maybe in different forms depending on who you're talking to, so that you're just kind of sharing what they care about, right? So you don't want to, you got to be able to know what of it you show and maybe what of it the person you're talking to doesn't need to know at all, right? So
I feel like part of that comes down to them just not caring about that part because it's not there.
Yeah, because it's not relevant to them and they don't care, So that's just smart communication skills, But and I think the other piece is really so it's that. I think having kind of survey templates and things put together, because if you're going out and asking people certain things, I find that I have common questions that I tend to ask, and I'll leverage surveys that I've done from others. Mm-hmm. I may create different kinds of questions based on what I'm doing the strategy for. Yeah. But that's really good. So understanding survey tools and how to leverage the survey tools, because I find open-ended questions in surveys for me to be hugely valuable, and they're gold mines of information. And I often, while I may have 4,000 people that got reviewed, you send out surveys to, and if 600 people take the time to take the survey and provide feedback, you should read it, So it takes time to look at it, but there's ways that you can pull that data out. So I've kind of structured my own Excel templates so I could filter things and look at data from different questions or different employee populations or things like that if I'm looking for specific trends. And then I think it's just, it's just kind of the project management of the whole thing. Having a project management defined template for how you're going to manage the work and stage the work to get it done effectively. Because it's easy to get mired down in the analysis and discovery, and you find yourself out of time, and you don't want that to happen, Yeah. So at some point you have to know when to pull back and say, okay, I have enough data now. I need to look at this and, start doing the other aspects of the strategy.
So they do exist, but it's mostly self-creation. And I feel like that also is kind of important, because I'd assume every learning strategist has similar traits, but I assume that they still operate or think differently. So I'd assume that those kinds of things, their bank of questions for their surveys that they have or things like that, they'll naturally develop themselves because that's the direction they usually go, or that's their process of thinking. So,
sure. Okay. And I think strategists have their own style, right?
Yeah, so, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. And then too, there's the branding component. So when you have those templates, put them together in a way, that depending if you have to use the organization's brand or whatever. I think really for me, I've just acquired tools along the way that I use even in just instructional design and development or planning. So I just leverage what you have to be able to capture the data, filter the data, and present the data.
Again, thank you, Susan, for sharing your insights on how learning strategists can develop their own tools. In our next episode, we'll discuss what a successful learning strategy entails. Until next time.